Hello, Yankees fans. We're back. Nothing's happened yet. Since the last time we spoke, we did an episode about Trent Grisham and that signing. Well, I guess, Hal Steinbrenner spoke to the media. That was kind of before we recorded, but I didn't feel like covering that because I didn't feel like it was something needing addressing. I know that was like a big thing on Yankees social media and among the fan base. Hal speaking to the media over Zoom and his comments. I always hate, well, I shouldn't say always, but over the last couple of years, I just don't care. I don't care. I don't care what he says. I don't care to overreact and overanalyze and dramatize every single thing that comes out of his mouth like every Yankees fan on the internet seems to want to do. Because at the end of the day, he's going to say things that make you angry. And also at the end of the day, even as much as he talks about protecting payroll and having to pay taxes and whatnot, he does spend $300 million at the end of the day. So I'm not going to overreact to it. What we are going to discuss in this episode, if you have not already guessed by the obvious title and thumbnail and graphics on the screen if you're watching, is the newest Japanese, I don't want to say sensation because he's not of that level that Yamamoto and obviously Ohtani was, even Sasaki, but the newest ace to come out of Japan. And his name is, and if I mispronounce it throughout this show, I would hope that you can forgive me. But his name is Tatsuya Imai. And it's funny because as I was losing money on football yesterday, and I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. As I was losing money watching those games, we were just doing some small talk with the family, talking about the Yankees, and this kid came up, and I was telling my brother I know nothing about him. So in the past 24 hours, I took the time today on the day off after Thanksgiving to read about him, to watch podcasts and listen to podcasts and read all content about this kid, Tatsuya Imai. And so I found out a whole lot about him, and that's what we're pretty much going to dive into in this show, do a little bit of a scouting report for those who don't know, like I didn't just a day ago. But yeah, this is a right-handed pitcher, starting pitcher. He was an ace in Japan. I think 10 years ago, about maybe 2016, he was one of the best high school prospects in the nation over there. Became a first-round pick in the NPB draft, and pitched his career for the Lions. Made his big league debut in 2018 over there. Up and down, mediocre, not great. Few years later, the 2021 season comes. He gets selected to his first All-Star appearance. He has a really good year. He beats Yamamoto in a head-to-head matchup. He throws a complete game shutout with 13 strikeouts in another matchup. The following season, in 2022, he deals with some injuries that keep him out a while, but pitched very well when he was out there. 2023 comes. He had some ups and downs early, even gets demoted earlier in the season. But once he gets promoted, he gets red hot in his recall and has himself a hell of a 2023. 2024, he has himself an outstanding season. And then this past season, in the year 2025, Tatsuya Imai has his best season yet. It was his post year. He is either posted already or he's expected to get posted. But he has his best season this past year with a 1.92 ERA, a 156 ERA plus, so 56% better in ERA than league average over there. And that was across 162 or 163 and 2/3 innings, where he had a 28% K rate. He had some really impressive gems this past season, throwing an 8-inning shutout. And then another start, he throws a complete game shutout, allowing 2 hits, 17 strikeouts, no walks. Really impressive stuff. And I believe that was against the team who the other Japanese player is on, who's coming to the big leagues. Big lefty power hitter, forget the kid's name. Big showdown. He was kind of the headliner of that matchup, going into it at least. And then Imai completely shoves. So, the Yankees, what do they have to do with this? Well, Dylan Cease just signed a new contract with the Blue Jays. Pitcher I've been wanting since his early Chicago days. He's not coming to the Yankees. The Yankees' rotation is very banged up as it is. Cole is obviously a gigantic question mark. Carlos Rodon is going to start the season hurt. Clark Schmidt got Tommy John. They're dealing with injuries. Right now, they're only shoo-ins for the rotation: Will Warren, Luis Seal, Cam Schlittler, Max Fried. So, not only do you need a number 5, but you're going to need pitching, right? Can never have enough pitching because of all the injuries that you go through in rotations nowadays. And so with the Yankees signing Grisham to a pretty sizable contract, a lot are expecting them to kind of be out on Kyle Tucker now. And Tatsuya Imai is kind of their plan B if they don't land Tucker. Some of the comparisons from reading about him today and watching some content on him, I'm hearing there's a little bit of Luis Castillo in there, given the stuff. Savage, Joe Ryan, I'm hearing that. I'm hearing he's like a better version of Kodai Senga and Imanga from the Cubs, but not quite an MLB ace. It sounds like he's going to be more of a number 3, possibly a 2. So I would say the floor to ceiling, if we're talking about upside and downside, I would say middle, like a mid-floor, mid-ceiling type pitcher. We know, usually with Japanese guys, you know what you're going to get, and you usually get solid, if not outstanding. So I think he'll be a durable middle-of-the-rotation starter. That's at least my own projection from what I read about him. But yeah, this is a right-handed pitcher who is going to be turning 28 years old next season in May. He has expressed interest in wanting to beat the Los Angeles Dodgers, so I think a lot of Yankees fans kind of, came around on this kid once they, heard about those comments. Money talks, so I could not really care less about that. But it was nice. But I think he's more, he's not an ace. He's more of an under-the-radar arm that could give you potential value, because I think he's expected to sign a Tanaka-style deal where it's going to be around 6 or 7 years. I would say it's going to top out at $150 million. I don't think it goes way much past that. So if it's in that range, that's in the $20 million annual value range in salary, that's considered solid value, right? Especially given if it's 6 or 7 years, that means the contract is going to end when he's 33 or 34, right at the end of a pitcher's peak, usually. So it doesn't seem like it's going to be a terrible contract. Now, the Yankees do have to pay, I believe, a release fee. I think there's a 20% fee. It's 20% of the contract value. Whatever. Again, that's Hal Steinbrenner's problem, not ours. Okay. So we're going to talk about him. I'm going to talk pitch mix, location, and strategy, development stuff, all that. We will get to it all when we get back from our first break here on the podcast. Stay with us. Episode 934.
Quick break here, guys. Stay connected with BD4 on social media. Follow us on Instagram and X at BD4Pod and find us on Facebook by searching BD4. Don't miss out. Join the conversation. Want more BD4? Subscribe to our YouTube channel and never miss an episode. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and share with your fellow fans. Don't forget to ring that bell so you're always the first to know when a new video drops. Love BD4 but don't have the time to sit down and watch? Don't forget to subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify so you never miss an episode. And if you're enjoying the show, leave us a 5-star rating and a quick review. It helps us grow and keeps the conversation going.
Okay. Welcome back to the show. Episode 934 of the podcast. We're talking about Tatsuya Imai. I'm intrigued. Again, from reading about the kid, against right-handed bats, he's got a 2-pitch approach. He's 4-seam slider, and we'll talk about that slider in just a minute. But against righties, he's a 2-pitch pitcher. He's 54% 4-seamer, 39% slider. So that means 4% change, 2% curve, 1% split, less than 1% Vulcan change. Against lefties, he is more of a 3-pitch pitcher where he's 4-seam, slider, changeup, and sometimes he'll mix in a split. So that's 43% 4-seamers, 28% slider, 16% change, 7% split, 4% Vulcan change, 2% curve. 4-seam fastball is a pitch that he likes to challenge hitters in the zone with, and he also likes to throw it at the top of the zone. He throws it 55 to 57% of the time in zone, and 64 to 67% of the time it's at the top of the zone. The slider. It's not a typical slider, folks. This is not, I don't even know why we call it a slider, because it's got this unique movement on it where it's arm side. It runs into righties despite being a righty pitcher. It's got this very screwball, gyro ball like movement on it. So with that, I read that he likes to go to righties with this slider out of the zone and backdoor. So he's less than 40% in zone with this pitch to righties, and he's 80% glove side command with it. Backdoor. So that intrigues me a lot. I love a pitcher who can backdoor his off-speed stuff like that, especially against righties. And then against lefties, he's not afraid to go in zone due to the movement of that pitch because it breaks away. He's 51% in zone, and he's pretty even location to both sides of the plate too. So he'll go to either side against a lefty with that slider. It's a pitch that gets mostly swing and miss. Very good swing and miss pitch, but it also gets some pretty decent ground ball rates as well. His changeup, the pitch that he goes to lefties with a lot, obviously goes away with it, being it's a changeup. And it's a pitch that also gets a ton of whiffs, but also a lot of ground balls. It's a ground ball pitch as well when they do make contact. The splitter, again, he'll occasionally mix that in against lefties, and it also gets a lot of swing and miss, but of course with a smaller sample. So you're looking at, a general strategy here of somebody who's going to put the fastball up top, and then his off speed will be mostly below the zone to get whiffs, to get chase. Pretty average pitch location, just in terms of his style. But he tunnels his pitches very effectively to create that deception. I can see him in the big leagues tunneling the 4-seamer with the slider and the splitter. And he generates a lot of ground balls, whiffs, chase with his primary off-speed stuff. Interesting pitcher because he's got a lower arm slot, which I love. That's going to help that four-seam play at the top of the zone. It's going to be much more difficult to pick up that way when you're coming lower three-quarters. It's a fastball that sits 95, 96 with pretty ordinary shape to it. Has some arm side action. Now, obviously, in the big leagues in America, the baseballs are a lot larger than they are in Japan, so that might affect velocity as well as pitch shape and spin, movement, grip. The good point that I heard on Twitter, really good point when I was watching some clips on him. In the major league, in America, we are, with our starting pitchers, it's less innings, way more bullpen reliant. That could actually help him maintain the 95 to 96 velo, maybe even increase it, because in Japan, it's not max velo every time. You're trying to go deep. That's the focus. Here in America, it's give your absolute best effort, so it's going to lead to some shorter outings, kind of the Dylan C style, right? Could help that velo play up a tick. But yeah, that's pretty much all about this kid. I think going forward in terms of developing into the big leagues in America, he should develop that sinker a little bit more, just to have a hard pitch that runs into a righty, right? Again, he currently has the Vulcan changeup that he barely throws. He considers that his sinker, but he rarely uses it. So I would actually tap into a sinker, get him to throw that, to have something that goes into righties high velo. And I do wonder if Matt Blake works with him on a curveball more, get him to throw the curve more, to have a different look, different direction other than that, than his other off-speed weapons. I think that'll help him improve against lefties who he has historically struggled with, despite the improvements this past season. I think that's going to be the key to unlocking his MLB potential, is working that changeup and that splitter to be good enough pitches to handle lefties at the big league level. So we'll see. I think the last kind of question mark on him is he's not great in terms of the run game. He will allow runners to advance. His focus is a lot on home plate. So if he is signed, the Yankees, hopefully there's no Imai Rice tandems going on, and he's pitching to Austin Wells a lot, so we can control the run game a little more. But yeah, I think he could be a good pitcher in this league, especially if he works with someone like Matt Blake over the wintertime to help him develop. I'm excited for the kid. We'll see where he ends up. There are a lot of teams, I'm sure, who could use a middle of the rotation starter, possibly some more upside in there. So that's Tatsuya Imai. So tell me what you think. What do you think? Are you intrigued in this prospect? Do you want him? Do you not want him? Do you think he could be a middle of the rotation starter? Do you think he's something better? Do you think he's completely useless? What do you think? Let me know. But I do appreciate you all tuning in. And that's going to do it for this episode of the show. So I'm going to go catch this Knicks game, which is on Prime Video, because you have to have a different friggin' platform every night to watch sports nowadays. But I do hope you guys enjoyed the show, and I'll see you very soon. Later. Hey guys, thank you for listening to BD4. Be sure to follow us on social media, subscribe to us on YouTube, and give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. We'll see you next time.